So, do you need a college degree? It's a good question. And in a lot of ways, it depends. It depends on so many different variables. There are a lot of people out there that want to say, well, there are other things you can do besides getting a college degree and it's not worth it. Well, when you look at the numbers and look at actual statistics about having a college degree, most people who have one make more money, but there are always exceptions to that rule, and a lot of times people like to point those out. But let's talk about the situations where you need a degree versus when you don't. All right, so certain fields absolutely 100% require it. So let's talk about those fields. They are things like medicine, where you have to have it, something like engineering, where you have to have it. If you want to go into law school, you have to have a degree in something. If you want to be a teacher, you have to have a degree in teaching. Engineering, any of the sciences like engineering, to be a scientist, you have to have a degree. Other fields, it's not so much that you always need to have a degree, but just having any college degree matters. For example, let's talk about like business in general. So like if I'm interested in going into business or finance, and let's say I want to work in an investment bank, any college degree is going to be fine. What's going to be most important getting that internship at a big investment bank are what college I'm going to and what connections I have into that bank. Not going to matter if my degree is finance, management, English, history. It's not going to make a difference. It's more about my connections and what college I'm going to. So in some cases, your degree doesn't necessarily matter. And for a lot of jobs, you really just need a college degree to get in. Your degree doesn't matter so much. However, we have lots of specialized degrees. So why do we have that? So one of the reasons that we have specialized degrees are so that people who want to focus on an area can get real practical experience in that field so that they can have a much better chance of being successful in that industry. Let's talk about that. So let's say I'm interested in film. To be a film producer, to get into film, I do not need a college degree. And this is the case with many other fields, so I'm just using this as an example. However, if I want to learn all the proper techniques, learn about all the equipment, and film equipment is really expensive. So if I want to have experience using professional equipment, running and shooting shows, broadcasting, all those skills, going to college for film studies can be well worth it, because they're going to, in that 4-year time period, I'm going to get like 20 different experiences. I'm going to learn all the cameras, all the techniques, I'm going to learn all the knowledge and all the practical skills around that industry, so that when I graduate, I'm probably going to have a better chance of getting a job than someone who just says, I want to learn film. I've been practicing at home with my SLR camera. Whereas a person who went to a film school is going to have experience with not only the SLR, but all the other equipment. And it's going to save a company training. It's also going to tell a company this person's developed and done a lot of stuff. This is where having the degree makes it worthwhile. So is a college degree worth it? Well, you also have to consider the return on investment and the long-term ramifications of having the degree. Do I think it's worth it if I was going to be a teacher to get a $300,000 loan? Absolutely not. I would tell someone to go to a state college, take out like a $30,000 loan. The general rule of thumb is your first year salary should cover your amount of loans from college. So if you're taking out a $30,000 a year loan to go to a state school, your first year out of work should be around $30,000. So that's when the degree is very much worthwhile, right? The other thing, let's go back to that film example that I was talking about. Let's say someday the film studies person decides they want to get into more like a management and corporate end of film. Having a degree is probably a requirement. So that's where like having the degree will pay off initially and then pay off into the future. So this is where things like having a degree make it worthwhile. Having said that, that does not mean that having a college degree is for every single person. No one ever said that. I think there's this like stigma in society where people believe that we recommend kids go to college because overall they make more money. They really do. All statistics show that, especially when we exclude the outliers. People can use the example, well, Bill Gates didn't graduate from college, but you have to remember that Bill Gates was at Harvard University. He wasn't like average Joe who became the richest person in the world. He literally was at Harvard. Same with Mark Zuckerberg. Same with pretty much all those big tech CEOs. Pretty much had, some very extraordinary abilities that most people don't have. So you have to kind of consider that and consider their circumstances, that not everyone can do that. And not everyone can start their own business, which is usually how people can make a significant amount of money without going to college. Because we talk about things like trades and everything like that, and there are some and military is another option for people. So there are some really good options for people. You just have to consider, what do you want to do? What do you see yourself doing? What are your long-term goals in 20 years? What are your financial, what do you really want to make? Look at those salaries, look at military, look at being a teacher, look at being a doctor, and say, what do I need? What is going to benefit me? And always remember, what you need now might not be what you need in 20 years. So consider those things. If you're not physically fit, it might be better for you to try to go for a desk job, just depending on your personal situation. Every situation's different, so there is no right answer there. But as far as is a degree worth it? It can really be worth it if you do it correctly. You do need it for specific fields. You do need it for a lot of jobs. So it can definitely be worth it, and it can give you that experience. That's another reason that when you're looking at a program, go back to my film studies example. If you were looking at film studies, you specifically want to go to a school that has an actual good program that teaches you how to do it and gives you experience, so you develop a portfolio. The portfolio and the experience is a must. It's one of the greatest things about college, is going out and doing that stuff. A lot of people sometimes will go, and I'm a perfect example. As an undergrad, I went to college and I did not take advantage of all the great stuff that my university had to offer. And that's a problem with some people going to college, is they don't take advantage of that stuff. So taking advantage of what the university has to offer, like with getting things like internships and different experiences, are what makes it worthwhile. Thank you very much.